so let's head back into here. We can grab another contract because we were able to get one of our contracts completed. You can go in here and you can see we got some science data. So that one we were able to complete. Now we want to, here, let's grab this one. Yeah, so let's grab this one. Let's see if we can't, we're probably not going to be able to do that on the first shot, this escape the atmosphere, but we're going to launch our vessel, our first vessel. We're going to make a small vessel that we can launch with, and we're going to try to recover it, or as much as we can from it. So let's head back here. Let's head into this. Okay, so we're gonna start with the command module. Do we have, okay, we're gonna do the parachute. So we're gonna recover the command module. I don't believe we're gonna, actually let's see what we can do here. Just to be safe, I'm gonna put a stack separator on there. I'm gonna put a very small fuel tank. And what I'm going to do is just going to empty the fuel. So this is basically going to be a test. There we go. Let's do the same for the liquid fuel. Okay, so I've got no fuel in here. And I'm going to throw a Reliant engine on here. And so what this is going to do is it's going to sit on the launch pad. And as soon as I push the start button, it's going to turn this engine on. But because there's no fuel in here, it's not actually going to be able to launch. So I've got my staging here just in case, but it shouldn't do anything. It should just turn the engine on. Actually, I'm not sure if that might be enough to satisfy my contract. So let's call this the Somnia 1. We're going to start with Somnia 1. And we're slowly going to upgrade it and try to build on that. So let's go with Valentina again. She's going to be our primary test pilot, as I said. And let's launch. So again, this is to test the valves. This is to try to recover as much as we can, because as soon as we launch off the launch pad, we're actually going to lose the engine. So I'd rather not do that, but let's see if we can. So let's zoom in here. We don't really have to do anything with the throttle, so let's hit spacebar. We launch. It does not satisfy our contract. Okay, so let's just recover this. We're going to just put the fuel back in, and we're going to launch it then. And we'll get off the launch pad. And then as soon as we hit the our highest point, we'll decouple the okay, no XP, yeah. As soon as we get to the highest point, we're going to decouple. We're going to parachute back down in our command module so that we're safe. And the bottom half of this is just going to fall back and basically be destroyed. It's going to crash, and we're not going to be able to recover it. I was trying to save a bit of money there, but oh well. So let's add the fuel back in there. We don't even have to add all that much. Let's add half. It'll cost a little bit less on fuel. I believe we'll be good enough. Just to be safe, let's add a bit more. We don't have to go all the way up, but try to add the same units. Oh, I guess we don't need the same units, eh? Oh well. So we'll save that, and let's launch. Okay, so we're waiting for control. Let's put our SAS on. So that's only possible if you have a pilot. We can throttle up to max, might as well. And I'm going to try to move over a little bit just to make sure I don't come crashing down onto some buildings or right on the launch pad and cause a bunch of problems. So let's see if we can't move over just a little bit. Heck, maybe we can get over to the... I doubt I'll make it to the water there, but it'd be kind of nice. Let's slow down a little bit. We're getting a little bit fast here. It'd be really nice if we could make it to the separate. And we can wait till we hit our maximum point. You can see the moon there, actually, or mun, I should say. We can take a crew report, so we might as well do that. Keep that data. We don't have a communications device on there yet. But definitely worthwhile to take some crew reports while we're doing this. So we're going to fly up to, let's keep going here. One of the mods I have will actually let me show me what the height of where I'm going to be flying to is, but I need to install a part on here to make sure I get that data in flight at least. So that's the engineering redux. As you can see, we're slowly coming over. I took the SAS off so that it's just the aerodynamic forces that are moving our command module, and you can see it's tipping over. Our retrograde position is moving over. We've hit our peak. We're starting to make our descent. I'm trying to wait a little bit longer so I can get over to the water. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that, but let's see if we can. And I think now is a good time to deploy our chute. We don't have a lot of speed, so we're okay, but we do want to make sure we don't end up crashing back down. I was trying to get as much distance as possible. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna make it, but you never know. It's certainly possible. I could have thrown some goos on here just to be able to have something to test when we arrive. But first off, I just wanted to get our contracts completed first. So we did manage to we set an altitude record. We set a speed record. That was pretty good. Second speed record. We launched our first vessel. So we did manage to get a few contracts completed. So we'll check back into mission control when we get back. Here, let's go ahead and speed up until we get down to like the 500 mark. We should be okay. And even then, oh, there goes that engine and the propellant tank. Okay, so our chute's deployed. You can see that that chute fully deployed. So it was kind of in drogue mode before that. They deploy at like 500 meters, and then they slowly come down. So we should be okay to still fast forward a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna actually we're gonna be pretty damn close. But, oh well. So this crew capsule can take like 7 meters per second or 7.5 meters per second. So we're going to be fine. Yeah. So we landed. We can do an EVA report. So it seems like we're actually... We're going to get any signs from this? No. Because this is flying over Kerbal shores. If we walk out here, it's saying we can get an EVA report. So from the shore, so we do get a second report. So let's board. Let's recover this. We can actually redo this flight with a goo or a couple of goo containers and get a new crew report when we're actually on the ground there. So we got 24. We can get that last science. So this will give us our radial chutes. Let's save that. Let's get back out of there. We're going to need much more science before we can do anything else. Available is only orbit Kerbal. So we have to escape the atmosphere before we get anything else. We've got 5 days to take this. So we do need to make sure we take this before it expires. But we should be able to do that. So let's just keep rocking here. Might be able to upgrade our space facility a bit before then. But we'll see. Okay, so what we're going to want to do here, let's keep doing some more science. Actually, this might be the last flight for today. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to put a science on here. I'm going to put this back, and I'm actually going to add a bigger... Here, let's add a bigger tank. We'll add 2. And we'll put the vectoring engine on here. And then we're gonna even add some fins. So let's put 4 of them, just to give us a bit more stability when we launch. Then that way we'll be able to control where we're gonna land and that sort of thing a little bit better. Not perfectly, but a little bit better. Since we do have this, let's put a couple radial chutes on. So if we have 2 chutes, we're gonna slow down a little bit more. Not 7 or 8 or something like that. We want 2. There we go. So let's put those on like that. That should be good. What else? What else do we want? Oh, let's put the engineering, the science, or sorry, the engineering redux reader on there. So I'm going to show you how this works. That's what this toolbar is as well. So it gives me some stats about how much thrust there is, what's the thrust weight. So you can see it's actually got a really good thruster weight. So if you're at 1.0, you're going to be able to hold your weight, which is all right if you've already accelerated to the speed you want and you just want to keep yourself going forward. Typically you want this a little bit higher than 1, so probably in the 1.5 range. And at least on the ground when you're in your first initial stages. Some of your later stages, particularly if you don't have a time requirement, like if you're falling at your apogee and you're trying to get into orbit, you probably want something that's a little bit closer to 1 or even a bit higher. But if you're using a maneuvering engine in space, this thrust to weight can be really, really small as long as it's really efficient. So that's what this ISP is. So like I said, I'm an engineer. I've studied these things. We'll get to them more later in the series, but for now, suffice to say, I like high ISP as much as possible. Of course, you need a certain amount of thrust to get off the ground. So that's just kind of the laws of physics. So we'll put those on there, the goos as well. And let's go ahead and put some landing struts also. So we got 4. We could put these, oops, right on the bottom here. So these are going to be how we come back down to Earth. So we might end up being, yeah, we might end up going kind of out into the ocean, and they might not be useful. But if we want to go to the grasslands, we can do that as well. Actually, you know what? Let's try to aim for the grasslands. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so we've got our rocket. It's all ready to go. Valentina's still in the pilot seat. Oh, one more thing. Let's add a communicatron right on the top here. Take it out of symmetry mode. Zoom in right to the top. It doesn't snap really on this spot, but we could get it close enough. So this is just in case there's a crew report that we can take while in flight. We can transmit it. but the rest of the stuff we'll probably only deploy it once we get onto the ground. So let's try to do that. So let's go ahead and, before we do that, let's make sure our staging's right. We want to be able to separate, and then we're going to deploy the parachutes after. So that's going to be sort of separate. And because our thrust to weight is still pretty high, it's 3.8, we're probably only going to need to use like 50% of our throttle. So even at 50%, if our thrust is kind of linear with our throttle, that'll give us a little bit under 2. So that's still pretty good. So let's save this, and then we can go ahead and launch. Okay, so this is our final launch of this episode. It should be a good one, actually. So let's put the SAS on. So we're going to want to head in that direction. It might be a bit far. So we're just going to head straight that way. It might be a bit far, but we'll see. We'll make every effort. We'll delay our launch of our or delay our deployment of our chute as much as possible, and we might be able to make it. So let's see if we can. We'll kick our science alert off here. I believe once we get over the grasslands we'll get another crew report, but we'll see. I'm not sure if that will be something that we'll get, but we'll see if we can. So we're taking off. Let's accelerate a little bit more. So there's material study and mystery goo, so that's flying low. Oops, wrong way. Oh, SAS is not on. That's why it was quick to respond there, eh? So let's kind of go straight up-ish and slowly head over. Still got quite a bit of fuel, so we're doing pretty good. So let's tip over a little bit more. That should be good enough. So we are making our way over. I do believe we're going to make it. So let's see how far we can go. We can slow down a little bit. We don't want to get much higher than this because we'll start getting some aerodynamic effects. So that's why I'm just going to slow down here. So we're almost maintaining here. You can see there's a bunch of data now. That's because of that engineering redux chip. So that we added a computer to be able to give us this information while we're flying. Yeah, so now we got a crew report. Take the crew report. Let's transmit it. It does take a bit of energy, but we're generating some energy from our engine. So while that's going, you can see it took a lot of energy, but it's recharging our batteries. So we need our batteries for our SAS. If we don't have that, and our reaction wheels actually, to be able to control the spacecraft. So right now it's actually recharging, so it's fine. Let's see, we're almost done our burn. Our apoapsis, that's our highest point, is about just a little over 15 kilometers. You can see it's dropping. That's from the air drag, so we're still pretty heavily in the atmosphere. So we are getting a little bit of drag here. We did get a few rewards. So 5 kilometers, that's a distance record. We've got an altitude record. At this point we can't change anything about our trajectory. We're gonna land where we're gonna land. We don't have any more propulsion. We're well over the grasslands right now, so we're probably gonna land over in this area here. So we can separate. So that is gonna keep. It's gonna be on a relatively similar path. And we might as well take SAS off. We'll deploy our landing gear like that. So you can see they deployed. That caused a bit of drag. That's alright. we'll deploy our chutes. So that'll turn us back this way, I believe. Yeah, let's turn SAS on briefly. There we go. Okay. Here, let's orient ourselves like that. It's using a little bit of juice, but I think we're gonna be okay until we land. And those two chutes are gonna be more than enough to slow us down. Where are we gonna land? So you can see that stage was coming down here. Actually, we're going to be much closer. It looked like we were going to be heading way over here at first. But the chutes do slow us down quite a bit. But even then, you could see there, so that debris is 4 kilometers away, almost 5 kilometers. So it's about 3 kilometers or so over the surface. It'll probably be impacting the surface relatively soon. So we'll be able to watch that kind of blow up beneath us. We weren't going to be able to recover that anyways, though, so that's all right. So let's watch that. Yeah. So the rest of this we'll kind of get to as we. Oh, there we go. It blew up. Okay, so the rest of the engineering data we'll be able to get to as we go. Let's zoom into our craft here. Here, let's go towards the hatch like that. Okay, let's speed this up just a little bit. We don't want to spend the last few minutes of this episode watching the spacecraft descend. So we'll speed it up a little bit. When we get to around 500 meters, I'll probably slow it down again. With the 2 chutes, it might be going quite slow, but these legs can handle quite a bit of impact anyway, so it should have been fine, but I prefer having 2 chutes just in case. And we'll see. So where are we? We're almost at 500, so we'll slow down here. Oh, we got to 500 above the surface at least, so we're at 600 still. Do they have a altitude? Can't quite see that, eh? Oh, here we go. So altitude above the terrain, we're at 300 meters. So let's speed it up just a little bit more. When we get to like 50, I can slow down and we'll watch it land, and then we'll do a bit more science. So down to 150, and almost to the 50 mark. Let's slow down here. So you can see we're going at 4.6 meters a second. That's well within the spec for these landing legs. So they can take up to like 10 meters a second of fall. I believe they have like shock absorbers, so you'll actually see them recoil a bit. So let's watch that. Just a little bit. It wasn't going that fast, so they didn't really recoil all that much. Let's take a crew report. We'll keep that. We'll do our material study and our goo as well. Keep that data. You observe the goo. Let's take a second one to give us a bit more data as well. Keep that. And then we'll do the EVA report. So this one is flying over the grasslands, I believe. Yeah. So this is a new one. It's 5.6 data. And we'll click on this, store the experiment. We're gonna fall down, basically. She should be alright. Valentina should be alright. But she might... That helmet is a bit hard to control. So she'll be able to stand up and walk over this way. So you're all happy. You had a good flight. You went to 15 kilometers. That's pretty good. We're going to take one final EVA report. 2.4 science. Great. And that's pretty much it. So me and Valentina would like to thank you, for joining us on this Kerbal space adventure. And we're going to continue doing these videos. It should be kind of fun. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.